Hi, everyone. Welcome to Evergrowing. I'm Sabrina Wong, and I'm the CEO of Evergrowth Coaching. I coach 8 to 9-figure revenue CEOs, and I want to bring to you the biggest breakthroughs from coaching sessions and the top tips to running a successful team. Evergrowing is about understanding yourself better so that you can understand your people and run a world-class team. I really believe signing up for leadership is to sign up for a journey of constant self-growth. And if you have an ever-growing mindset, you have an ever-growing culture, and then you can achieve exponential results. And now, let's dive in. If you're a CEO, you've probably heard about time blocking so that you can actually get your most important work done. I have 3 tips for time blocking. One is don't overcommit. Sometimes you will overcommit to too many things, or you'll simply put too little time for the things that's needed. Always be conservative and increase the amount of time that you need, because if you get things done, you can always pick up another thing. But if you're overcommitting, you would create this frantic, overwhelmed energy into your work life that makes it so hard for you to take on new things. The second thing is to be flexible. Let's say you put in a time block to work on the board deck from 3 to 5 tomorrow, and something comes up, right? Then you might decide, hey, I really don't want to move this time, but sometimes you might need to move it to a different day that requires you to cancel other meetings. So don't be afraid to be flexible, because CEOs, you all are some of the busiest people on the planet, and your schedule will probably change. It'll probably not go according to plan. The third tip that I have is to remember your top priorities. Time blocking comes from that at least weekly time to reflect on what your top priorities may be. So then when you're time blocking tasks, don't forget to check in with your priorities and see if all of these tasks and projects are serving those priorities. Because if they're not, maybe it's time to remove them off of the time blocking. And a bonus tip, you can time block other things too. A lot of my CEOs do this. They time block meditation, rest, walk, workout, finally time, and so on. Because your health and fitness and wellness is as serious as your work. Your body takes you through these work days as much as your mind. So if there are things that you need on your calendar to make sure that you're healthy and happy and well, please commit to them, just like you've committed to a meeting. So the hardest thing about CEOs prioritizing their list is what will happen when they don't hit that prioritization, when they don't get to do those things. There's often this sense of disappointment and failure. I will hear a lot of my clients say, oh man, I had such a shitty week because I didn't get to do the things that I said that I would do. Then I would ask them and say, well, what did you do? And they said, oh my goodness, there's this huge fire that came up. I put down the fire. I saved one of our key players from leaving the company. I made this amazing hire last minute, et cetera, and et cetera. So the biggest mistake one can make with their top priorities is to be so harsh on themselves and not be flexible. Your priorities really change. So be open to them changing when information comes your way, and give yourself the credit of that. Give yourself the pat on the back, because often when I'm coaching with people, I'm the only person who's giving my clients those props and celebrating them. And they would feel so good when they receive those props. If you don't have a coach yet, if you don't have someone in your life to give you this, you have to be that person. Because remember that last time when you gave some compliments and some well-earned validation to a team member, and how happy they felt and how much work they did and how motivated they felt afterwards? You need that too. Don't use your prioritization as a way to whip yourself. Use it as a way to guide your work and be flexible when things change. A successful and a great delegation has 3 components. One, it's the description of the task. For example, I need you to help me with our QBR report, quarterly report for our customers. The second component is the success criteria or the acceptance criteria, which means to what extent would they need to do the task for it to be acceptable. And I might say, in order for you to really do this task, I need to see you make all the slides, create all the content, grab the data from the data team, cross-check the data, and just get the slide to me 90% of the way done. And I'm just going to review the information with you and change flows. And if you need help from the design team, please hit them up, because I want them to look good with our updated logo and our updated messages. So that's the second component. That communicates the expectation. And I think it's really kind to be clear in that way. The third component is when. It's a deadline. You might say, hey, like, feel free to give me the 50% draft next week, but I want the 85% draft, the final acceptance criteria in 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, please schedule a meeting with me so we can review the draft. I think reflection is one of the most important skill sets and habits a CEO can have. When you're a CEO, it's very easy to get dragged into the nitty-gritty details of day-to-day execution. You're putting out fires, you're talking to your teammates, and you're just like completely working on that level. But someone has to steer the ship. Someone has to take a step back, look at the information from this week, this month, this quarter, and think about where are we going 12 months from now? Where are we going 36 months from now? Let's say you take that period of reflection and you think, okay, 12 months from now, we are going to go deep on this machine learning AI strategy. Then at this point in time, in present time, you might have to make some decisions differently. So that act of reflecting back, the first benefit is allow you to properly think about that long-term strategy so you can prepare for that. Because when 12 months come and then you think about the 12-month strategy, it's way too late, right? Then you're going to be able to build slowly. The second benefit is just create more fun and more sense of satisfaction. When you're in the day-to-day a lot, it could feel that little progress is made. When you reflect and take a step back, think about, where am I at as a CEO a month from now and a quarter from now? Where was I a year from now, right? Like looking back in time and seeing the progress that you have made, your team has made, could often get you to feel so excited and proud of yourself. And pride, gratitude, excitement are great emotions to motivate for the best type of work. So if you're a remote company, it is really important to get your team to be in a writing culture, because a lot of times you only have a limited amount of live meeting time, right? To be able to maximize that time to keep everyone engaged and focused, you want to prepare for the agenda. And you might want every team member present to prepare a bit of questions, comments, challenges, so that you can just use that time a lot better. When there's limited synchronous time, you want to really supercharge those asynchronous time, and writing is one of the best ways to do it. Writing forces people to be clear about what they think and what their reasonings are for supporting initiative, or if they disagree with something. And that is just a key strength for your organization to have. If you're in meetings, it's important to ask people to not be on their other devices or other tabs during meetings so that everyone can be focused. You as a leader have to lead by example, because people can tell if you're up to something else. And if you can lead by example, call up people who may not be present or have one-on-one side conversations with them and ask all of your leaders to do the same, then everyone can just have a better time working with each other. Now, if you're thinking about communicating what to do, delegating tasks, when you're in a remote environment, you have to be even more clear, even clearer about writing down what those tasks are, what those acceptance criteria are, and when's the due date of that task. You might even put a calendar invite on your calendar, inviting both the task assignee and yourself on that calendar invite, so that there's something to remind you something's going to be done, right? You can use software to really keep people reminded of the things that's been working on. It's probably also helpful to schedule more frequent short meetings if needed. And one of my favorite things to use is Loom. Hey, like, I want to show you how to do something. Let me record a video and show you how to do it. Or I'm going to give you feedback. Instead of typing out feedback, I'm going to use video. So think about how you can add up different formats of communication in one. Even if you're sending out an email, a written documentation, you can overlay a short Loom video over it to show your full range of emotions and where you want to focus on, so people can understand you better. Personally, when I do work, I can really be zoned in, focused, and I have this crystal clear vision of what I need to be done. And I can often do work twice or three times faster than other people. And I really thank this ability to an earlier childhood experience. So my mother had a shop, like a shop where people would come in and out to buy things. And after work, I was always at the shop doing my homework. And let me paint you a picture. There's this huge window, probably like 10, 12 feet wide and like long window. And there's a one table inside those windows, and then it's the shop, right? Usually people sit there to drink a coffee or like eat something they've bought, but I'm always sitting there because there's nowhere else to sit to do my homework. From an earlier age, I've learned to tune out the traffic on the street, people looking at me, things going on in the store, and be very clear about what I need to get done in this time because I want to get my homework done before dinner. So like that ability to tune out distraction really benefited me. I think I can do work really anywhere on airplanes, at airports, and a really loud environment if I want to. I guess what I'm trying to tell you to say is getting better focus is all about practice and all about putting yourself in that environment and trying again and again and again. If your focus isn't good today, don't be discouraged because it can only get better if you put in the work.